Hi everyone. So in this video, we will talk about the science of brain health. Now, the National Institutes of Health, or NIH, CDC, and the World Health Organization believe that exercise is one of the most important things you can do for your brain. While nutrition provides the right environment for your brain to grow and thrive, exercise literally grows your brain cells and connections. It builds synaptic plasticity. It regulates inflammation in the brain. It also helps memory and thinking through both direct and indirect means. The benefits of exercise come directly from its ability to reduce insulin resistance, to reduce the inflammatory processes, and also stimulate the release of growth factors. These are brain chemicals that affect health of the brain cells, the growth of the new blood vessels in the brain, and even the abundance and survival of new brain cells. One of these growth factors is called BDNF, or brain-derived neurotrophic factor. It has been studied extensively, and its level is associated with a strong, healthy brain. We'll take a look at that in detail in a minute. Now, there's plenty of good reasons for you to be physically active. Big ones include reducing the odds of developing heart disease, stroke, diabetes, etc. Indirectly, exercise actually improves mood and sleep, and it reduces stress and anxiety. Those participants who engaged in a less intensive, more moderate form of exercise still benefited from it. They reduced their risk of cognitive impairment by 35%. In another study, researchers investigated the effect of exercise on 639 elderly subjects whose cognition and vascular health were tested every 3 years. Now, those who exercised had a 40% lower risk of developing cognitive impairment and dementia, as well as a 60% lower risk of developing vascular dementia. That's the type of dementia that involves damage to the small blood vessels in the brain. And this one study is my favorite. In a study conducted by Wake Forest University scientists, stretching was compared to intensive exercise in people who had mild cognitive impairment. Now, as you remember, people with MCI, or mild cognitive impairment, have significantly increased risk of developing dementia. Those who were in the intensive exercise group exercised for about 45 minutes a day, 4 days a week, over 6 months. These individuals had more blood flow to the frontal lobe, increased brain size, improved executive function, and protection against cognitive decline, despite these people's strong genetic risk for Alzheimer's disease. So exercise actually trumped their genetic risk. The stretching group, on the other hand, had brain shrinkage and had decreased executive function due to the normal course of dementia. There have been many studies that show the effect of exercise on brain growth factors, specifically BDNF, like we talked about earlier. Now, this factor is responsible for growing connections between brain cells. Aerobic activity, or cardio, has been shown to increase the synthesis of BDNF in the brain. And in one study, aerobic activity resulted in a 3-fold increase in BDNF. Now, recently, in 2016, a systematic review and meta-analysis of 43 studies published between 1995 and 2012, which included over 3,500 individuals, a comprehensive exercise program significantly lowered inflammatory markers in the brain. So these inflammatory markers actually cause damage to brain structures as well as blood vessels. As we have demonstrated in our own research and in reviews of other research, inflammation is a major contributor to cognitive disease. Now, these dramatic results were seen only after 4 weeks of exercise. Talk about quick action. One of the most exciting findings in research is this particular information. The effect of a resistance training program, which is strength training, about 2 to 3 times a week for 6 months, was measured on a group of elderly individuals with mild cognitive impairment. Nearly 47% of these participants achieved normal cognitive scores after the intervention. Yes, they did not actually have mild cognitive impairment after this exercise program at all. And these results were maintained over a period of 18 months. Greater leg strength in this particular group was extremely effective at improving cognitive performance. Now, this is just a sample of all the research out there about exercise and brain health. There's so much more, not just for diseases of cognition, but for stroke, for depression, for Parkinson's disease, for traumatic brain injury. And there is no question that exercise is very important to build the brain, prevent diseases, and maintain that intense capacity of the brain. We'll see you at the next video.